I'm Chad with Anarchy Offroad Utah, and today we are going to show you one of our absolute favorite trails here in the basin, and that's White Lightning. White Lightning is located just north of Stanica Reservoir, up US 191, and you turn left just like you're going towards Moonshine Arch, and you turn off here in a parking lot, and you're heading up Red Mountain east. This trail has probably 8 out of 10. And some obstacles even more. It's a beautiful country, beautiful scenery. It's got tons of deep canyons, lots and lots of slick rock to drive on, which makes it super fun for us. But it's a super fun trail. It's a difficult one, and it doesn't have a ton of bypasses, so you really got to pay attention. So once you come up the Red Mountain Road, it's about half a mile. You turn right, down a wash, headed down into the beginning of the White Lightning Trail. And once you turn down into White Lightning, this is one of the first obstacles here on the trail. It's also bypassable. So after that little obstacle, the next thing we have to go up is we're going to go up the slick rock. And it is pretty steep, and then right before we get to the top, we're going to turn right and basically just loop around right where Randy is with the buggy and come down that slope over there. This section, super fun. It's got an off-camber slope side to it, and you basically just loop up around this big rock ledge and come down this pretty steep drop, dropping back into the trail. So back behind me is a pretty steep wall, and it's a pretty loose, and it's got a nasty lip and overhang on the left, but it's pretty grippy. Get right up to the top, and for those that want to bypass, if you stay down here in the sandy wash, you can go right around this obstacle. So once we leave that last obstacle, you come down a super fun little short ledgy canyon, and we get to this obstacle. This obstacle is no joke. It is basically, you wedge yourself into this pinch point and go up the rock clear to the top. It's extremely steep. It does have a bypass right behind the camera, up and around the rock wall. So this section here, after the last big crack we go through, it's super off camera in the bottom, and it is very steep. And the issue people have coming into this one is when you drop down, you're in a hole more driver, and then the other side is basically completely opposite, is you're going to be pushing more this way. So generally when people come down this obstacle, they're hitting and then they'll flip down into this tree. So when you're coming down, just be super cautious that you're kind of on the brakes a little bit and let your suspension do the work and transfer into the next obstacle. And we go up this big wall and then we drop down a super steep bank on the backside. So after that big drop back into the sand wash, we basically have one more good slick rock hill climb to get back to the main trail that crosses back over the Red Mountain Road, and then we are going to turn up north, up the mountain, and we're gonna get a bunch of cool slick rock rides, ups and downs, and in some canyons, and super fun. So you'll come across where we basically went up this morning on the Red Mountain East Road, and then it just jumps back across the highway and follows along this rocky ledge, and it just basically goes all along this rock wall. And then once we get up top, we'll throw the drone up. It's just super cool, super ledgy, super fun. Like I said, this whole area is definitely a 7 to 8 out of 10. And some obstacles being definitely way higher than an 8. So right here is two pretty good sized drops. This one's an off-camera drop in the bottom, and the second one is a super steep and off-camera drop on the second section. So you just got to be aware of what's at the bottom. After we drop down in, we're going to ride this crazy slick rock wall all the way up and over to almost the top, and we're going to make a sharp left and come down this razorback edge to the next obstacles. Pretty good sized wall, and you got to be careful with this one because you got to go up and turn sharp right. If not, it is a long ways down off the other side. So this section of the trail is where it really gets fun, in my opinion. It's going to be pretty difficult to film, so hopefully it gives you a little bit of depth perception of what this thing really is. So we're going to drive through this big hole here, and we're going to turn driver and ride this wall and go clear up on top of the peak of the rock. And then this peak is the beginning of another ridge of rock that's going to go down to the next obstacle. So here's where we're going to drop back down into the canyon into another sandstone creek bed. Now we're going to turn right and come right back up the center of the crack and drop down this cool bowl and then back up to your left up a crazy rock wall. This section I think is super pretty. It's cool. It's very Hell's Revenge-y, like Moab. Just a super cool little section of the trail that we all really love. Okay, so here we are at the coolest section of all of White Lightning. These obstacles right here that I'm standing by, right behind the camera, is probably a 500 or 600 foot drop. So there is no room for error whatsoever. This entire section can be bypassed, but So here we are at the top of White Lightning. Like I said, there's not a lot of room for error on this one. And here's the obstacle. It is right along the edge, and it is this big giant knoll to crawl up and over. And as long as you have the right wheelbase and the right ground clearance, tires will just grab and walk right on up. It's a super duper cool achievement for this obstacle because this is like the spot. But it's also, I mean, I've done this thing a dozen times, and this is the first time this year. I'm a little shaky. So this one here is the second drop. This one's crazy. Off-camber drop onto off-camber sand the opposite way, up a rock wall. And that rock wall, you've got to immediately turn left because you are riding that same giant, deep, 500-600 foot drop-off canyon on this obstacle as well. This section here, we're going to drop again right next to this big giant cliff area, and then you're going to turn and go up this big rock knoll, and it's all optional. It has a bypass up above, but like I said, it makes for a cool video, and it'll definitely get the blood pumping. So here's where we drop down the slick rock into the last canyon, where there's just a handful of obstacles left, like Clamshell and a big drop. So this is the Clamshell. This thing is super nasty. Of course, it's bypassable. And there's tons of different lines from straight up to the left. If you got a buggy, there's all kinds of things to play on right here. Super cool area. Well, and that concludes White Lightning. So like I said, the video that we're showing you is just a small fraction of what the trail actually has to offer. There's a lot more here, and it veins off to other trails and all kinds of stuff. This trail is on Anarchy Offroad right now. So get on there, check it out, and thanks for watching.